go back to what's the beat. I heard a lot, or I seen like it just was like a lot yesterday. Like I did see that they were like, and I heard some people like the teams like they felt certain ways about like just teams' performances or like their like the speeches, the audios, things of that sort. Okay. Okay. I just want to know like basically like how do you guys feel about that, and like what are your comments on it being drill team and just basically what are your comments on it?
Me personally, it depends on how low you dig, how deep you dig in. If you dig in real deep, then excuse me, it might be a problem. But if you just digging, I don't find offense to speeches and things of that nature because it brings back an old feeling of competition for me when speeches, was directed at one team and after the competition we didn't go fight because you might have had a cousin or somebody on that team so y'all was still cool but y'all would laugh about it when y'all got in the house. It's still kind of the same way, but you have the spectators or, other people making it different because just like she said, if Bonnie was on an intermediate squad, just to say ML24 and with Tyler and he said they said a speech, whatever speech that they would say, but it's directed to all the intermediates. But because they're friends and they're close, they go home and they laugh about it. Who was just you was talking today like me and you. If Iconic said a speech, I wouldn't take offense to it because 9 times out of 10 I'm going to see you after the competition and we go laugh and we go joke about it and we go talk our mess about it.
But I'm saying, like, for people who aren't friends,
like it's 9 times out of 10, like I said, is the spectators or those negative-minded people that want to keep digging. And
so can I say, I would like for them to eradicate all speeches at this point because for me, it's not the way it used to be. Like when Tiana was doing speeches and things like that, our speeches were never geared toward any one particular team. And people can say what they want, that their speeches is not geared towards, this speech is not geared towards one particular team, this speech is not geared toward one particular team. However, when you say your speech, I gather that you took this one speech from the last show, personal, which is why you came back with this speech, and this is why everybody going back and forth with speeches, because that's what it sounds like. A bunch of people just keep going at each other for absolutely no reason. I heard half of one speech just because of where I was sitting. So I was trying to hear, but you couldn't really hear because of the crowd heard the full people in the front heard it and was like, ah! Then it kind of drowned out in the back. So I couldn't necessarily hear the whole thing. I did get to hear another speech. And sometimes I'll just be lost because I'll be like,
what happened?
Do people got issues or something?
Yeah.
I'll be confused. There's no longer speeches that are just geared towards I don't know. I was trying to think of a Tiana speech to give
drilling
that it wasn't towards any particular team or any open squad, or it was just general, even the spectators, we had one where she just said, I finally come to realize that it's not something, it's whatever that you can't take. But it wasn't like we were just like, it's our stepping and you can't take it, or it's us beating and you can't take it, or we killing y'all and you can't take it, or there is no competition, or da-da-da-da. It wasn't none of that. I kind of feel like people get in their feelings about one team's speech, and so they take that personal, which that team might not necessarily been talking. They just express themselves, and now somebody's upset,
right? And they want to write a speech,
and now they got to write a speech it's the back pedal.
See, I don't think you go back and forth through the whole season. But if it's like you say, okay, you take it. If you can dish it, I'll be able to take it. So after your first speech, just let it be known that whoever yours about, or excuse me, dang.
We said speeches all year, and Majestic was like, "Shut up, you talk too much."
Yeah.
I ain't take that personal. They probably was telling us we talk too damn much, because that's all we do is say speeches.
I'm not sure.
But no, if you could dish it out, you should be able to take it.
That's just how I feel. I just feel, I don't know, like for me, like, I wish people was coming at each other's necks when I was drilling. Like, I want some for real stuff for me. Because I just feel like, honestly.
You do?
Not coming at each other's necks, because I just think that, I think at this moment in time, it adds the competitiveness
so to
the
speak,
competition
I
now,
never want to be in practice,
it's not there as far as the numbers.
All we are focusing on is but that's where it goes. That's where it goes, and that's where I'm at with it. Why I feel like it should be like just like totally wiped out, because that's where it goes. Not back like as if you was drilling like 21 years ago, but when y'all were drilling, if those things would have went down, we probably would have been rumbling because of the level of ratchetness now is not as ratchet. However, we had those directors.
Dramatic word, the ratchetness.
Y'all was ratchet. I had a problem with saying Chesapeake was ratchet.
Well, I'm not from Chesapeake, but for the rest of you.
Y'all get it, but what I'm saying is that if I said something, y'all would have been outside at your bus. Y'all might not have been throwing stuff, but you would have been throwing so much shade that we would have all been outside like, well, what we gonna do? And our directors would have been trying to break it up and break it up before it becomes something.
I think that's when people don't understand the dramatic.
And I feel like now that's the problem. Yeah. People don't understand.
I think they do understand the meaning of competition, because that's what it is. When you, like, I just put up a stat earlier. When you hit the floor, when you enter the competition, it's nothing but competition. Even when you're in the hallway, it shouldn't take for. I don't like me when a speech is said. I think that the only way that speech could be like, you know how people say like, oh well, you know, your speech is dedicated to someone. How could you say that unless you are them?
Right,
so
but if they're taking it personal, which some people are, since they're taking it personal, my thing is that there's no longer teams being able to say a speech without people automatically feeding into these people's heads, whether it's staff, whether it's people sitting in the stands, whatever, because people know inside information of personal things that are going on towards other people. As soon as one particular team, like as soon as a team makes a speech, and you take it personal because you automatically think that it's about you. When you know the saying,
if you feel that way, it's about you.
If the shoe fits, wear it. However, where my problem lies in that is that is not only is it creating an issue where people are going back and forth with statuses, but then it creates this issue where statuses going back and forth with speeches. It creates this total, I don't like we don't like them. Like, for what? Because I did a speech that you took personal. You don't even know if that was about you or if it was about anybody.
So
I made a general speech.
So why should they be completely obliterated if you cannot pinpoint that this is about you?
Because it's causing so much turmoil.
Because you said earlier, people are small-minded.
I think that is causing a big thing because
it's causing that they don't
because you can't take it.
Yeah,
because you want to dish it, but you can't take it too. You're small-minded and you can't take it.
But and that's true. Maybe I shouldn't say eradicated and just like kill them, but I just kind of feel like people, they're small-minded, and then you may know that they may know. Somebody may know that the speech is like that somebody's about, they will do a speech and it's about this team and that could be an insider, they may know whatever. I feel like people are home, teams are home, and they're no longer doing their shows for show and for them. Like, it's kind of like, well, so and so did a speech and this is what they said, so now you got to top the speech and make sure you go out there tip top shape, because you also don't want to look.
That's the wrong part. That's the wrong part.
But isn't they having a competitive spirit?
No. Not when you solely focus on just because they did that.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like the reason why I said I would rather that they not be there, because I kind of feel like, in a sense, for instance,
you couldn't say, well, that was about me.
Right.
Because,
for instance, like I said, Majestic said, "Shut up, you talk too much." But that wasn't something that we took personal. In the end, the next competition, we still did another speech. It wasn't. We didn't say anything to say, well, they say we talk too much. Well, that's what's going on, and that's where
they did that.
That's where the problem.
We did do and I can say that we did do that, but I can say that it was always maintained. Like I said, I guess it all boils down to what Najee said. If you don't dish it, if you can't take it, because I feel like a lot of people, I've been sitting out for a while. I've been for a while, so I've seen and watched, performances, and I've been the spectating eye, and I've seen people, come on, like, just like you say, they throwing shade, you throwing shade, you're throwing shade also, but it's now that it's to the point that the shade is embarrassing, or the shade is
downgrading, or
you feel as though that they're downgrading you, that it's like, oh, now I want to now. Why, like, no, like, we should, like, why they said about me, or why should we let them have speeches, or like we should just take that away. Like, I feel like they talking about it, but I don't know. I guess just for me, it's just my competitive side. Like,
I feel like it brings. I feel the same way. Like, it brings. Like, maybe that's the guys in us, like the boys. Like,
yeah, like, it's just like
girls are more emotional.
Now, when we're dealing with like maybe parades or stuff like that, now it's different. Now, when we come to a parade and you coming from, like, now it's just like, okay, like, come on.
Like, yeah.
Like, we're not even in the competitive, thing, like, versus, unless it's something like how Najee has a competition, annual competition in his coming out day. So, if you go there,
I just don't want to sit for an all-out war, like,
all season.
But isn't that what it is?
I mean, isn't the whole reason for coming to an all-out competitive war?
Maybe because I sit back and I sit back and know inside stuff. Yes, it's an all-out war, and I just don't want to sit back and watch that.
Well, I've been spectating, so maybe that's why. I don't.
And I love the competitive. Bring it because I love it, but I just don't want certain teams sitting in their practice spot. Right, but I don't want teams sitting in their practice spot dedicating their time to making sure this speech hits home hits home here, and because that's what's going on. It's a difference when you make a speech and you made the speech. And after you read it, you might be like, oh, this gonna hit a couple hearts. But you wasn't in there like, let me play back what they said so that I can be like.
Okay, so now we watch this because we watch Dancing Dolls. It's like the same thing with Miss D and
they do
they do it. Miss D, she done came out with a horse with Miss D face on there.
And she do it.
Yeah, she came out with a toilet and pushed her down the toilet.
Football do it. They get paid. Dirty for like
they get paid.
They get paid, but I think that
Dancing Dolls don't.
So
they did.
Now,
so my thing is my thing is because you're not getting paid, you feel as though
we can't be as sport as.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's okay to be competitive. It's definitely okay to be competitive. It's okay to write a speech, and if it happened to if a couple of feet can fit no shoes, strap them up,
Yeah.
lace them,
Here you go.
and there you go. However, it's not okay to me to sit at practice and come up with just the right shadiness to be. I want this person to know that I'm talking about
But
them,
I don't want them
but
to
I
know.
don't want them to know that I'm actually talking about them. So I'm a curb it just enough
Because it's considered
for
heckling.
them.
Because when people were being, because I myself, like Dramatic Impact, like I said, we had a speech it had dynasty, it had
Yes, it is.
something about majestic, it had
But we
something
didn't
about
take
icon.
that personal.
Yeah, you guys, but what I'm saying is y'all didn't take that personal, but I think someone did because it was considered. But back then, I'm just saying in that era.
No, I
when
think that
people
was
when
an
people were-
official who felt like that was because
I'm not sure, but that's what I'm saying. Like back in that era, I remember that people were being very direct. At a point in time, people were being very direct. But I think that it was you were heckling, so now
And it
they're
is heckling
switching it up
because
to
you
give it
have
like
teams
the-
that don't give speeches at all. They come out there and they perform, and yet you have teams being direct. If I'm coming out and I'm kicking butt without a speech, and now you're making a speech and you're being direct, so you're saying my team's name because you come in for us. I didn't do nothing to you. Just come out and do your show. And if you want to make a speech and say, I'm coming for everybody, then say you're coming for everybody. But you ain't got to say that I'm coming for RLZP. I'm coming
right there.
for
If
you.
you're at the top,
But if you're in the top, you aiming for the top 3. You're not worried about number 5, and that's real deal.
They say I'm coming for
So-
you. You don't have to say.
nah.
But if there's only, so say if there was
I'm not.
only
I wouldn't per
two
se. I wouldn't. Me per se. I wouldn't say your team's name if I'm doing that. But in some
you're going to do
organizations,
something that gives them the hint.
but in some
You're not
organizations,
saying
they
their
will say
name.
their name. They'll be like, "We're coming for such and such and such and such," because they're at the top,
And
and then it's just there.
it's not a problem for
And
them.
it's not a problem for them.
Because it's understood that this is
It's competition.
But the
So-
problem is that, like you said, it's understood that this is competition. Here, it is understood that it's competition, but the problem is that everybody is somehow connected. And they have personal issues, which goes back to our first show ever. There's so many personal issues with people that it can't go on. No matter how many times we feel like this is a competitive sport, and it is, until people learn how to just be like, this is competition, and I let all that ish be, where there ain't gonna be no rumbling and people getting jumped at competitions or getting jumped walking down the street because of whatever.
But what I can say is I haven't experienced a fight at a competition since I've been.
I mean, we haven't experienced a fight
Because a lot of
at
stuff like
competition.
heckling is cut. It's
No,
cut.
But we haven't experienced a fight at a competition as of recently, in my opinion, is because, that's not is being cut, but, people are respecting the competition, they're respecting their team, and they don't want to.
And they don't want their team to get what's in it. But what I'm saying, even.
But if they do see this person out on the street and it's a problem, we have had situations like that, with
But 9 times out of
certain
10, they
people.
are personal situations, and what we are or people are doing, they're turning
That's
into a
what's going
drill
on.
team.
But
But that's what's going on.
But
That's
I
what
don't-
I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
going on.
But if it's drill, I
I get what you're saying
like,
too. If it's drill team, it should be taking the drill team.
Like
This
if
person
like
should be
listen,
taking it
if someone leaves a squad and they go to another squad, and now you decide you want to make a speech about the squad, why not? What's wrong with it? What's wrong? Like they took one of your even no matter how it happened, and most of the times it's done in a shady way. We're going to be honest. Most of the time it's done in a shady way. But if this is where we're here for competition, why can't
But it's just in the way the person take it. Because because how they say every action deserves a reaction,
I just think
or every action comes with a reaction.
I just think I would never. I would never take a drill team speech to some. I would never take it. I would never take it as you're talking about something personal. You're on the floor.
Right. So we're not taking it past competition.
So why am I worried about it? So how I don't get. I don't know. I just think that if you're talking about a person leaving your squad, that's drill team.
My team.
It's not personal.
We actually did it, and
what made a speech about?
And I don't know how I felt about it. At the time, I was just like, I didn't drill. I had just had Ashton. And I think all that was going on, I was kind of just like over the fact that there was so much going on from people who were not performing. And I was over it. So I okayed the speech, which normally I would have not, just because I don't like that type of. I just don't want to be in the position where we gotta have these meetings where they gotta get an AMA official or somebody involved.
You so training.
I just don't like to be in those positions. So normally, I don't allow it. However, I had enough of the back and forth and the what this and what that, and it's just like, why?
But the back and forth between who?
So,
well, not the teams, but your squad and another squad.
No, the spectators.
Well, they were a squad. So I don't have no problem.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any issues with saying anything. It was
A help situation.
The speech that Syl did, and she said, we only basically something about we don't talk to them, whatever.
Okay.
And I was just over it, so I okayed it. However, in the end, I can't say I can say how I felt about it. Like, I kind of was just like,
It's done.
it's done.
Yeah.
It was nothing I could do about it once it was done.
Yeah.
But I'm not going there again.
And
Like,
then
this is
it's not for me.
It's not for me, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there again. Like I just feel like I just put a speech in a show to show, like, to say something back to people who
Aren't doing anything. Yeah.
So why? Because now it looks like we're talking about the kids, and it's never been about the kids. It's never been about the kids. And so for me, I hate when that keeps coming up, because you know damn well it ain't about no damn kids. So stop saying it.
It's about you.
It's not about the kids. So for me, that's where I took that whole situation and had to say, let it go, because it was taking me somewhere else that I didn't like as a person and as a director, and I felt like no more. Like, just no more. If they gonna talk and say whatever, then let them talk and say whatever. But I am not about to put another speech in my show to show I'm inferior of what, or to show I'm not scared of what. I see y'all all at these competitions. The same thing you saying on Facebook about people walk past you, you're walking past me too. I'm not going to keep doing this. And that's where I took a step back. So for me, I do feel like you can't always, it's not okay, because people take those things personal. And it could lead to something that it doesn't have to lead to. I feel like these kids are being pulled into things that they don't have to be pulled into, because directors and choreographers that are grown have issues. Yeah. And so you're bleeding it through these kids in these speeches, and that's not okay for me.
I do understand.
That's not okay for me.
Yeah.
So I can own up to the fact that my team did it, but I ain't let it happen again.
See, now I'm just saying, I guess I was just referring more so to like the competitive side, like not as.
I don't think that it's. I feel like it's beyond being competitive at this point, and that's what I'm trying to say. I feel like it's beyond being. I dig the competitive part of it, but I think it's beyond that now. So I do understand why people are jumping in their feelings about speeches, because at this point it's beyond being competitive. People can say what they want. We just have a speech, and if you take it personal, but behind those enemy lines, I know that, like, not for me anyway, because there ain't no bad blood on this end, but with other teams at this point, I feel like there's so much shade being thrown, and it's being thrown through the kids in these speeches. So if I can't express it completely the way I want to, I'm just gonna make sure somebody does it for me in some way, shape, or form. So everybody hears it and they understand. And yes, you're gonna have some of those people who it doesn't pertain to, and they be like, ooh. And that may be them with their competitive hat on. But the ones who know that it actually pertains to them, that just makes people go back. It's no longer going back and saying we gonna practice, kill it, and do whatever. We going out there and put our best foot forward. It's no longer that happening. It's these kids going home and being drained to their freaking dehydrated because they gonna go in here and kick some super butt because somebody made a speech and they gonna make another speech and we gonna do this and that and that and we just got to win. It's like, it's when you at practice, it's just a team, that one team's name, and it's on the target and you just throwing darts. You just throwing and throwing until you hit the bullseye. And for me, it never was about that. Like, why couldn't we try? There were many teams to beat. Maybe that's another topic where, you know, like, there's not, like, you know, you can't pinpoint. You can pinpoint now the team, like, there's like that one elite team in each category that to beat. Whereas though before, it'd be like the toss up of the top 5 is hard.
Right.
And now, we already know who coming in first most of the time.
I get what you guys are saying.
Yeah. So, wrapping it up tonight, we talked about a lot. So we hope you enjoyed our show.
I'm Ronnie.
I'm Bonnie.
And I'm Najee. And this is What's to Be.
See you next time.
Comment, like, subscribe. Tell us what you think.